to be filled. And what's that void? That's what we're going to try and talk about this morning. We're talking about children and the role of love and friendship in their upbringing. One of our respondents last Saturday asked a very, very germane question, and subsequently I heard about 43 other messages asking the question in that line. What was the question? If I cane my child, does that show love or is it friendship? And one of our guests in the studio last Saturday, he said, caning your child, I got a better understanding. And I think we'll start from there today. I already have in the studio two wonderful people. I told you last Saturday, there was one of the guests last Saturday. He's here today again. You know, he listened to me last Saturday. You know, when I was introducing him, I told you that he dressed like a young boy, but he's a grandpa. Don't be deceived. So today he dressed like, okay, I'm playing the part of daddy this morning, and I'm very glad about that. And I have in the studio this morning a very, very, how will I put it? He's not strict. He's not tough, but he's principled. I'm talking about Pastor Dele Oyilero. Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
I hope I've not done anything wrong.
We are fine.
We're fine. Okay, I like that. I like that. Okay, I have another wonderful lady here. I heard about her last Monday, and I searched her out immediately thereafter, and I was not disappointed. She's a unique person, and I will tell you more about the uniqueness in her. She will tell you herself that, see, this thing is not a problem to me. It is a lifting. Where people look for a falling, there is a lifting, and that's what she has latched onto. But you know, it started even before this challenge came her way. She has always been dutiful. She had always been visionary. She has always been committed and dedicated to her job and the course which she believes in. She is an emotional intelligence expert. She's Dolapo Agbede. How are you?
Thank you so much.
Good morning.
Very glad to be here.
Thank you for being here. I hope I didn't get you out too early.
No, it's fine. It's fantastic.
Your usual routine starts at about what time?
Typically 4:30
a.m.
Oh, yes.
You're better than I am.
Oh, but that's the time to meditate.
Please don't let Pastor Oyilero listen to what we're talking about. But you're better. 4:30.
Because that's the time to engage with your maker and prepare for your day, honestly.
4:30. Yeah. What if you get into bed as late as 3 a.m.?
You know, you can't cheat your body. So it's true. It's normal. It's natural. So you find your best way to fit. You have to respond and take your day as it comes then. Okay. Because now we cannot guarantee that wake up at 4:30, can we?
We cannot. Okay, thank you very much. Viewers, it is going to be interactive between my guests in the studio and, of course, with you. In another 10 minutes, the phone lines will be opened. You see the numbers there. Please text messages only. I plead with you, text messages only, and they'll do justice to your messages. While we're opening the lines earlier, there were a lot of messages for Pastor Oyilero last week, Saturday, but we couldn't deal with all of them. But I know there's so much agitating the minds of my viewers out there, and we need to address them and address them fully. Pastor, children.
Okay.
I'm a Christian. I'm not sorry about that. So I read a lot about the Word of God concerning these ones, and it says they are like arrows. If they are like arrows, are they meant to attack others? Because if I shoot an arrow at you, that arrow is not supposed to do you any good, is it?
No.
It will hurt you. Okay. So if my child is an arrow and I unleash that child on you,
okay,
what am I doing?
Well, when the Bible says that children are like arrows,
yes,
it's talking about the purpose for which they were born. God did not just create us and start thinking, oh, what will Dele do? Oh, Busola, Busola, Busola. Guys, check out whether there's vacancy somewhere there. It was purpose that gave birth to us. Now, he said, children like an arrow in the hand of a mighty man, a warrior. So you have to wet it. You have to target it before you release it. That is the preparation time. Those are the years that the children have with you. And let me quickly say this before parents miss this. The truth of the matter in our generation, or the way our society is organized now, if you miss the first 13 years of your child's life, you have lost that child.
Wow.
In all. Because by the time they are 14, they are preparing for WAEC. You're going to trouble them again. By the time they are 15, they are gone out of the house. They are in their institution. So how can you help them again? It's too late. Sorry. So, and a lot of people keep waiting. Oh, he's still a child, you know. When he's grown up, I will tell him this, I will tell her this, I will teach her this, I will teach her that. Before you know it, she's out of the house, and she may never come back to the house. From university to service, from service to working, from working to her husband's house.
How have we missed it? Because obviously, for very many, we've missed it. First 13 years. Ha.
And those 13 years are truly critical because, you know, as a child, and even if you don't have one yourself, you see children around and you have been a child.
Yes.
Everyone has. So we are all products of our experiences. So what I'd like to do is, even before anyone tries to look at that external child that they're looking at, remember what your childhood was like. And then let's take a little journey. A child is born into a family. That means into the care of a mother's hands. So the feeding, the cleaning, making sure the child is protected is in the purview of that family. They start from being in the mother's room and rarely going out of the room to the general spaces, to when they can toddle and crawl around, and then you see that the family begins to make adjustments. Things that were on the ground, you lift them up, you know, because now, and then things that the child can put in their mouth, you begin to take them away. The child is already building experiences, and the family is already responding in a nurturing manner. What's the objective for any parent or any carer should be that when a child needs something, there's their go-to person. Typically a child, when something happens, it could be they found something exciting like a worm or a cockroach. You know, a typical child is just something new. They go to their go-to person and show it. When they are hurt or they fall and they yell, you know, they go to their go-to person and say, this is what happened to me. Those are the places where you begin to now establish bonds. How do you rest? You know, so that means the parents are not as there as used to be before. So these are the times, but people are also getting creative about the time they spend with their kids. So despite whatever it is, they still make sure they ask the questions. What did you do today? What did you eat? I kept this for you. Did you have it? Tell mommy what happened. Tell daddy what happened. And you're beginning to build and establish what we call rapport. Your child trusts you. The person you're a guardian for trusts you. And you need to keep those bonds of being their go-to person. As they grow. So that means because their environment, you know, we went from being a baby in a room, now you're crawling around, then you begin to go to school. You begin to interact with other people who might or might not have been nurtured in the same style as you. So their horizons are expanding. But what are they learning? But one, you should still be the go-to person they would ask, because they're asking other people too. So establishing the rapport, the trust, the fact that they can come and you can have the discussions based on their level of understanding, because the levels are different. At least they can always come to ask you even the toughest, messiest questions. That is the only way not to lose a person.
Okay, let me. Like you differentiated between love and friendship, you know, can that go-to person afford to be just a friend or somebody that loves that child?
Like I said last week, excuse me, I said it's not, when you say somebody's a friend, I took the case of Abraham.
Yes.
God did not say everybody is my friend. There was a point Abraham got to before he could be called friend. He began to give some pleasure to God. That's what friendship is about. There's some mutuality for that child, is love, or else at the end of the day, you may end up actually destroying that child in the name of being friends. Because as a friend, you would need to be sure that you are measuring up as a friend to please this child, and the intention is not to please this person. Your intention is to whet him, to set him, like you were talking about it as arrow. As an arrow, you have to target him. You have to make sure he hits the target for which he was born. That is the purpose. It's not supposed to be used as a weapon against people, but as a weapon against the situation he was born to deal with and solve for humanity. So every man, when the Bible says train your child the way he should go, when he's grown up he will not depart from it, what he's saying there is that we should just categorize them based on your knowledge of who they are, having studied them. It's not that you just keep telling them what you want to tell them. You realize that this child has a tendency, he talks a lot.
Okay.
Instead of saying, keep quiet, you talk too much, your own is too much, blah, blah, blah.
Channel the child to talk sense.
Awesome.
That's it. That is what that scripture is talking about. So what you are doing then is you are getting it ready to release it, to release that child. So that is what it means when you say they are like arrows. It's not like you use them. But one of the things we tell parents is that you should never use your children as weapons against your spouses. It happens a lot amongst us. You know, we just use them to play our games.
One another.
That's one way of damaging the personality of the children, and it's not good. So as a go-to person, you need to love the children. Once you know you love them, discipline will not be an issue.
You know, Dolapo said something that is
not be an issue.
Yes, Dolapo said something earlier. She said you should look at where you're coming from as the parent.
That's right.
And that should guide you in guiding that child. Let me paint a scenario. Good. I'm a woman. I was
and met
but that was the only life I knew. So
no, you don't understand.
Yes.
Now you're an adult. By the time you reflect on how you lived, you will be able to make better choices now. Even if you enjoyed it then, you will not enjoy it now. Then you should now treat the child. I think that's what he's saying. She's saying
exactly. So just if I come in,
what you will
please go ahead.
Please go ahead.
So what I meant was, so the dynamics is, you would see that angry families, if you're coming from there, because of the lessons you've learned, you're a bit more careful about the family of the partner you want to select, because you don't want to repeat your experience. So, and really, as we talked about from a child being nurtured in a carefully structured area and then going out more and more into the world as they become educated, as they live, as life happens, you begin to interact with others. You begin to actually see the differences between where you are coming from and others. They are all you look at what experiences you liked, then there might be others that you can see their experiences. Like, for example, if I've never traveled and I'm reading a book and I can see that, oh, someone got a scholarship from good behavior and the gift was a trip to so and so place, and if I aspire to that because now I know, I will pursue that also. You might have a certain way you are dressed, the clothes, because I remember when I was much younger, before we began to have the choices to pick your clothes, really giving, I couldn't wait till when I could shop for myself. So that's just a simple example of where you're taking care of, but you've seen something else that you can't like, and you are working towards it. So in the end, as we mature, our choices materialize, and that's why it's important for the relationship to be there, so that communication is so key. Even when there's no guardian or no parent that is not well intentioned.
No guardian or
where you realize you cannot put your foot down and lay down the law.
But you should. That's what we're supposed to do.
Which is why the growing of the child, the growing of that person into a young adult, the feel of them being accountable to you, because they also realize that you are doing your best for them. There's a way you show that you are truly, everything you are doing is for the very best for them. But if there's something else, let's talk about it before there's a final decision. So if there's that kind of growth right from the age of, let's say, from like 10, when you are beginning to actively negotiate with a child, so that means even when they want to, I'm not saying that if they want to choose a school, you could have already told them that, I have looked at this university because I see that you can talk, and in this university
they want to correct a child. It's not just beating that child that is the issue.
The child has to understand, what have I done wrong? How could I have done it better? And if the punishment, if it had to be meted, must have been agreed before the occasion.
Between me and the child.
Sure. The child knows this is what I'm going for. Anytime I went to play football without permission, I knew what was waiting for me, so I would enjoy myself thoroughly. And
now when you get back home,
I knew what was waiting.
I
knew what was waiting.
Acts that they should not do is what they want to do.
Okay.
How am I going to address that in an atmosphere of love? Because you're saying now that love is better than friendship when it comes to raising a child.
Well, you need both.
Okay.
You need both. Because if all of the time what you do for a child is, which is actually what happens in our own climate here, The only communication that parents have with what parents do mostly with their children, there's no time for playing, there's no time for having discussion together. Generally,
what should be the ratio of time for playing, time for discussion?
There is no hard and fast rule about these things. Just let situations determine. Most of the time, in fact, you see that all the teachings of Jesus, there was no time he sat and said, okay, we are going to be talking about love. If you go to Deuteronomy chapter 6, you see the pattern of parenting there from 6 to 9. He said this loss of you teach them diligently, and it is not during Bible studies alone. In fact, preferably not during Bible study, because their walls are up
during Bible study.
Oh yeah, but as we are watching Arsenal and Man U together, wow, that was wicked. That's not nice, because there's no sportsmanship there. Then you chip in something,
a lesson. Yeah,
you know,
it's an opportunity to.
It's an opportunity. You understand? So that is how he said, when you lie down, when you walk in the way, but the problem is we are never with them.
How can we be with them, Dolapo? I have to be in the office.
You know,
and I'll leave at 10:30 p.m. What will I do? How will I cope?
Okay,
so how should I do it?
We have an interesting syndrome where we do as I say, don't do as I do. You know, so what are the things we even do for the times we're around? Tell me what's going on. Have you eaten? Have you done this? Have you done that? I might not see you. You might be asleep when I get home, but please make sure you do all your chores. And write mommy a note. I want to see that your writing is now straight, you know, and everything. You can still engage.
You're talking about children that live in GRA.
No, no. Well,
what about the children that live in Agege? And
may I also let you know that a child is totally responsive. There is no writing jam. You're targeting some score, so you have the end in mind. So the end you have in mind as this parent whose child does not directly have a phone is, I want to communicate with my child even though I am not there. So who's the adult that is around? That person is my automatic. Good friend.
I like that.
We would have built rapport to the point of whenever I can. What is even the preferred time for you? I know my so important to your needing to have access to your child. Of course, you've already checked that that person is a good standing, mature person, because you don't want to expose the kids to risk. So by the time, and you know, no matter how people say that this thing has gone, we still look out for each other. You'll find out that they're looking out for each other in the Agege place that you mentioned is even more. So that lady that is doing petty trading, who sees when they are playing football, who sees who kicked who she knows everything that is going on in the dynamics of the play. Call your child with great enthusiasm. And you know what other children will see is a mother who's always trying to engage. Sooner or later, your child will be known as the one that wants to think peer. You better go.
Mommy. Something like that.
So there is no reason why we cannot find creative ways to still show you are important. I am connected to you. I might not be there. I am thinking of you. I am making sure others are looking out for you.
Okay, let me come back to you, sir. At this point, bring it to a particular point before I take up the care of that child. Now, that child has spent over 13 years with his or her biological parents, whose outlook on life differs from mine, whose principles are different from mine, whose values are way different from mine. How am I going to show that child? Because that child will measure doing this now. My mother allows me to take alcohol. Exactly. My father allows me to stay out till 11 p.m. So what's the big deal? What is this person's problem? How will I show that child this is the right way and not this way?
You see, one of the problems we have in parenting is that we become KBSs as parents.
Shouldn't I be?
Oh, you see now?
I am the one that gave birth to him. So I am in charge.
We become KBSs.
I am in charge.
Only God is KBS.
To teach.
To teach. That is the way to raise children. And you got to carry them along. There's nothing wrong with sitting the children down. You think they are not as small as you think. I told a woman, how old is your daughter? And I said 6. I said just had 5. She's 11. When you are 11, look at us when you are 11. In this time now. But what's the point we are making here? The point I'm making is that whether it's your child or somebody that's coming in after they have grown up to a point or the first thing you have to know is that they said you don't blame them until you train them.
You don't blame them
until you train them.
How easy would that
you got to let the children know these are the standards and these are the reasons. The children are not as difficult. At the time, I got very embarrassed because I was getting results that, as if it's this cheap, with young people around. The cash accounts and the rest of them, it's not true. It's because they are actually against the society. They are angry against society. When you show them some measure of love, you will be amazed at how much they open up to you. How much they are willing to change. It's almost dramatic, almost magical. Because nobody ever told them, oh, this is why. They just told them, you must do this because daddy said so. They have brain, they can think. You tell them the reason why I don't want you to stay late at night is for your good. It's not those limits, because he sees himself as being part of the decision, not just somebody just coming and saying this is how things work. Why? I'm mommy. You just got to do it. So that's the starting. When you have that kind of basis for a child, you realize that no matter where it's coming from, they didn't even tell him why they were doing what they are doing there. But you say, well, why I don't want you to do this? Oh, so he's the one that will not realize that, look, so my mom was not actually helping me. My dad was not actually helping me. And gradually, but you have to be patient with such a child. We all know how difficult it can be for people to change. So you have to give some allowance. You have to let them know. And other children will feel that, oh, you are being partial and rest of them. It has to be known. We need to engage children more. Get them involved. Let them know why you are doing what you are doing, why you're asking them to do what you're asking them to do, why they need to do what you say they should do. Let me tell you something, Bukola, you realize that a lot of times if you engage, you will be amazed.
Wow.
Try it.
But when you give them those instructions, Dolapo,
yes, ma'am,
explain to them, this is the reason why this must be so. this is the reason why he's Muslim. There are times again, you get a brick wall. You meet a brick wall.
Yeah.
How do you go about it?
You ask questions. So, you know, there's a part where you've explained. That means is you giving and trying to set the scenario of the pros and cons of why it is important for whatever that that rule or that standard is being set. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
But you now ask them also, this is the objective of this. I want everybody home safe by latest 7:30. In fact, my dad had an interesting way of saying it then when we were still at home. He says, well, this is my palm. Can you see the lines of my hand? I want to be able to see the lines of my hand. And what do you think? Is there a better way? Because what is the goal? Everybody home by 7. Yeah. This is the way I think it should be done because of this, or this. If you make sure you live where you are by 5, more or less anywhere you are coming from across Lagos, I'm not monitoring you, but you'll be home by 7. But if you see a body language, because there are many languages, the nuances of your voice, you can, from a voice you hear who's sad, who's angry, who is about to, who's just, please, let me just be going. You can tell in the body language. So you, the adult, who wants to have this continued communication and bond with this human being that God has trusted you with, because it's a position of trust.
It is. So
when the person now says, I will not get my share even though I have participated, or you're like, oh, is that the case? So how can we, must you have that pride? You know, it opens up a new discussion, but at least now you know their own perspective. And as far as I'm concerned, sometimes the reasons might not make sense to us.
Be terrible.
Yeah. No, but you know, that's where the rapport must have happened, that there's nothing that is not telling. Everything they do, there's a reason.
Okay, there's a text message. The text messages have started coming in. If there's no positive influence from the society on a mother, her own children, I don't really get this. Her own children too. Okay, from a mother who is a core woman, her own children too will be wayward. Ransom. This from Ransom here in Lagos. Well, says
not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
For example, if that child, the daughter to this lady who's doing what she does for whatever reason, like we've established, there's a reason for whatever it is. But that child, if that child goes to school, all the other children in that place are not from the same place she's coming from. She can see options of what could be. And in seeing the options, she can begin to make a choice and aspire, is the point.
Okay. You were saying...
She has uncles around. She has neighbors. You understand? She watches the TV. She reads novels. All these are influencers. You understand? So it depends on how much of those things she's giving to. She has role models. Who are the role models? Somebody can give birth to a child and somebody else is a role model. He wants to be like that other person. So those are opportunities for that child to toe a different lane from what the mother had told.
And he's always saying that before he got married, he wanted a family like Bill Cosby's own. And I was like, in Nigeria, it is well. Okay, this is another one. And this is one that I think both of you should please address seriously. I'm a single mother. I'm very close to my 3 children. But my son reports his school proprietor who collected their feeding money for breaking the school things.
Okay.
I confronted the school owner. He since then isolates my son and told him, your mom will spoil your life. Am I a bad mother for confronting him not to collect their feeding money? Pastor Ilerusa.
Well, you see, this has been written. If it were to be spoken, or we are seeing face to face, it will be different. So it will be difficult for us to make an accurate judgment of this, but we can try. Whether swear words were involved, we did not know the condition, whether there were other people there and she was railing. All these things matter. One of the things that you should never do is to reprimand somebody who is correcting your child in his presence, because you are demeaning that person.
Reprimand the person correcting your child. Now, even
if it's wrong.
Okay, that's what I needed. I needed that clarification.
No longer listen to him again. So there are so many things that are involved in this that we are not reading from this text. So, but what I can just counsel is that when such a thing happens, because I say when, not if, because they always happen. When they happen, I think it will be good for parents to find out from other children. Do your own background investigations before you do what you call confronting.
Okay.
Because children can tell you anything. They know your emotions, they know how they work. They don't get the truth. And you just go there based on what
you have been told.
What you have just been told. So one has to be very careful, especially when it comes to teaching. I tell people, teaching is very spiritual. You can go to class every day and you are not imparting the children. Once you block them from your heart, they are not being imparted, and you are attending the classes, nobody can question you for not doing your job. I used to tell students, look, be sure that you are in the good books of your teachers. It's not enough that they come to class. They must release for you to be imparted. So a parent has to be wise in the way you deal with caregivers, in the way you deal with teachers, people that are with your children when you are not there. You need to be wise. You need to be smart. Even when they are wrong, there's a way to go about it. In a way that they will not be demeaned, they will not be embarrassed unnecessarily, but you can seek redress by the channels that have been provided. That's my counsel.
In that seat, there's a reason they are there. There are things that they are authorized to do, and it must be respected. The teaching of respect is very, very important, and the approach to finding redress is also key. From what was said in the text, it looks like it's an established fact that something was broken.
Yes.
You know, so something was broken.
Was indeed broken.
The mere fact that something was broken means something that is put in place for general use is no longer there. I would love people to swap confront for the word engage.
Thank you.
Because even when you just change the word, the dynamics shifts. Confront, you can imagine the picture
negative.
that comes to mind. But when you engage, you are there to ask, oh, what really happened? And really, you know what? That one-off taking the... So there is supposed to be some sort of balance. And as Pastor said, we don't know the full context. But there is always, for me, I've always said, or I've been told, then I came to realize, because I'm not sure I listened when I was told, that there is always a better way to do everything. We should always elect to do the better way. Okay, to do things.
Another text has just come in. Like I promised you, viewers, I will show that all your issues are treated today. How we do the explanations? Let me start with you. Now you have said so much.
Okay.
You have told us this is the best way to go about it.
Okay.
But there's some children that can try the patience of Job.
That's right.
Screaming and shouting, you know, you will snap. You snap.
I will not.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Grace. Oh. Grace is speaking.
I am Pastor and Dolapo have just rubbish. No.
Let me explain.
Okay, please go ahead.
Let me explain. I'm not talking theories.
Okay.
I don't know whether my son is watching. He say that man, he knows what he's saying. No. Praise God. All right. Now, why did I say so? It's a decision and it's a discipline. I never raised my voice against my son throughout his training, except once, and I apologize immediately. Once. Raised my voice.
So
everybody is a
specialized.
Every Nigerian is a coach, football coach. Every Nigerian is a medical doctor. I don't like. I mean, so that you look dull. What's happening? I have malaria. You have not checked anything. You decided it was malaria.
Yeah,
then I will tell. Have you taken Fensic? Have you taken this? So every Nigerian is a medical doctor. No respect for specialization. But the truth is that there are people who have graces for certain things. We have to. You see, explain. This is why you have to go through this. This is why, because I've taught you this, I've done this, and we agreed that if this happened, this will happen. So the child knows that these things are there. Now, talking about children that will make you try your patience and the rest of them. Listen, if you are not creative as a parent, you cannot make any headway with parenting. I have, for example, I have a son that's you expected that to pain him. If you say he should sit down and not go anywhere, if we are trying to enjoy himself
while sitting
down. So you have to keep praying and thinking, Lord, how do I get this message across to this boy?
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
How do I get the message across? So if you really want to kill yourself, you have died and the boy will still do what you want to do. So what you need to do is to be creative. But we don't have that time. We just do things spontaneously. Listen, if you punish a child while you are still emotional, you are not correcting that child, you are not disciplining that child, you are oppressing the child. When you say you are correcting a child while you are still emotional about the matter, you are not correcting that child.
But shouldn't you correct that child on the spur of the moment? You have done something. You broke this table now, as you just walk past.
You don't walk past.
So?
As long as you are not in charge of your emotions, who told you cannot get that child wounded? Who told you will not say something that will destroy that child's personality forever because you are angry? This is what maturity is about. That is why babies are not supposed to give birth to babies. Therefore shall a man, a man leave his father and mother. He didn't say a boy.
He's a man.
He's a man. So we are supposed to be mature and be able to handle these things. So I'm not saying it's going to be easy. It can never be. It's not expected to be easy. But the truth is that when we are creative, when we trust God to help us, who trusted us, with taking care of them, we will have, God will help us.
Amen. There's another message here. Okay. Good morning. If you have a son that smokes, what do I do? We are worried. This thing started from university, not secondary level. What should this person do?
Wow. Well, off the top of my head, I would say, are there opportunities to, the person in sending the message did not give us a feel of what their relationship with their child is, because it would have helped.
Does that have any bearing on that?
The reason is we're back to the engagement and having that conversation, because sometimes in the space of peer pressure, there are some things that make you a man, and everything.
Smoking.
That's the peer pressure context. But there is also, thank God, there's an increasing view for wellness today, because there are so many diseases and everything around. So if you remind a person that the organs that have been given to us all are supposed to last our lifetime, and that this information this is the impact of what you are doing to your own health. This is the direct outcome. And if you can find maybe an example of someone who is giving back the message of, if I had known better, I would not have been doing this thing, and bring it to their own to their attention, that might help. But again, there's also some people are social smokers. And then some people, maybe he has brought it home just because he knows that he can get you smoking. They're like, oh, is this good for you? Are you aware that because science has said that the secondary smoker is better, has the higher impact than the actual person smoking. I remember vividly off the top of my head an advert that I saw years ago. I think it was on an international TV station. And what they had done was, a parent was at his laptop smoking, and there was a child, naked apart from diapers, seated in the area of the father, because it was a man. So he was like this, and he was smoking. For every drag he took, the exhaling was coming out of the child's mouth.
Wow.
That visual was so impactful to me. And it drove home the message of, oh, secondary, don't be around people smoking. Because they're destroying my health more than theirs. So maybe even could we start the conversation from, please do not smoke at home, because the rest of us are actually inhaling worse than you, and this and this and this is what could happen to us, his own health. But at least let him first take it out of home, and then, because that shows that there is an impact and it's negative, it could affect us. We don't want to have lung diseases and whatever.
For that boy to be bold enough, brazen enough to come and smoke at home, there's an issue.
They didn't really say he smokes at home. They say he smokes.
He smokes. They didn't say he does it at home. Maybe the man does.
Maybe it's not. Oh, wow. So I'm assuming.
Yes. Now, the first thing that they need to do is to be careful not to react. They need to take their time to respond in love. And when I say that, respond in love does not mean indulging him or encouraging him to keep smoking. Don't ask him to stop smoking because you are disgracing us. We are Christians. We are this, we are that. That is selfishness. It's not about him. It has to be taken from the angle of his own advantages. Why? Then you have to find out, why did he start in the first case? How did he start in the first case? There are times that children do some things just to be offensive to their parents. They want to get back at their parents. They do that. There are times that they are, like she already said, might be peer pressure. There are times that such things happen, smoking cigarettes and the rest of them. It could just be a one-off, and if you immediately deal with the case. That will be the end of it. Rather than saying, oh, the whole world has collapsed. Cigarettes, abomination in our generation. Nobody has ever. It could be true. But if you approach it that way, you scare the child out. You scare him out. Okay. So they need to get to know exactly how it got to that point, and attack it from the angle of, oh, for you, this is not good for you. Yes, if it stops it, it will be good for you too, but it should not be about you. It should be about
parents are separated by all means, and being with dad is a hell, but children are lacking love and friendship. Can you please address this? Not to allow the children suffer for it.
God has set up the system of this world in a way that it's generous. There are people that we call father figures. There are role models. There are mentors. There are spiritual parents. These are other was not there, or my mommy was not there. That's why I became so rascally. I became a vagabond or whatever.
You know, when you hear the other man next door correcting his child, take whatever message is there.
If you don't need to just do that, you can go to him. Excuse me, sir. I love you. I love your lifestyle. I don't mind if you can just bring me up. There's nothing wrong with it. You see a lecturer that you know that, oh, this is the kind of life I want to live. You can have what we call father figures. It's very critical, especially for the male child. Especially when you are living with a single mother. You need a father figure. I don't want to go to some issues. All this issue of lesbianism and homosexuality we are talking about now, if you can trace them to issue of male father figures and the rest of them. You need a father figure as a male. It's too critical. It doesn't matter whether your father is dead. It doesn't matter whether your mother is divorced. It doesn't matter whether you don't even know your father. There's no this and that and just fine. You can find love where it is. Look for it. You're going to find it. You will be shocked how many people will accept you the way you are. And they will be ready to journey with you to where you're supposed to be.
Okay, let me take this last text message because we have so many coming in. My grandfather apologized to me after knowing that he had accused me wrongly. That had become my attitude till today. What we do and our own biological children. Otherwise, they will find it difficult to yield to whatever we're passing across to them. That's where the father figure, finding love.
That's not exactly what the person is saying.
Okay.
What he's saying is, if you have other children in the house, like a merged family.
Okay.
Now, you should not treat the ones that are just coming in differently from the ones that are at home. That is highly subjective and debatable. Like what I explained the other time. A child that you have raised all your life from the cradle, it's been going to church with you. You have been bringing it. You have morning devotion, evening devotion. You have been using everything to teach them the way of God. Somebody is now 16, is coming to your home. What you can take from your child you can't take from a child that is 5. You may have to take it for some time. From this child that is 16. It's understanding. And if you have children who you have trained to be able to speak out, they can say, "Mommy, this is not fair." You know, that's their language. This is not fair. This is not fair. This is not fair. Then you now sit them down. These are things I've gone through before. I've gone through them. Some of them will be watching me now and say, "Hey, this man." You see, they say, "Oh, Daddy, you're always giving. Oh, this person is so. Anytime he wants to see you, he's always talking with you. Anytime you give us appointment." Everything your mind knows that. So we had such meetings. I said, "Okay, that is the issue." I said, "This is the matter. You, by the time you engage me." The next 6 hours we are talking. This person, in 5 minutes we are done. So,
words are opposites.
And I don't like a situation where I pretend I'm with you and I'm not present.
Yeah.
So I have to clear my table before I can say, now I have time to listen to you.
Please sit down. The next 6 hours we'll do this together.
So this, in 5 minutes we are done. You can come back in the next 2 weeks and say, okay, Daddy, and this and this. You can be walking and we are talking. But I know if I give you that chance, I'm in trouble.
That is it.
I'll go late for my appointments. So what I'm saying in balance is that we just need to be fair from the heart. Love the children, and the way you love them will depend on where they are coming from and their personalities. There are some children you must
We're talking about issues such as this. Dolakwa, I want to thank you very much for making time out to be here this morning.
Thank you.
And I'm sure that you'll come back and come back.
It would be a pleasure.
Because life is all about our emotions, really.
So true.
So we'll work on it. Thank you very much, Dolakwa Agbede, for being here.
Thank
you. He said, we're okay. That was how he started the program, and I'm sure we're okay till now.
Fine.
Thank you very much, Pastor Dele. It's always a pleasure.
My pleasure.
And I've not forgotten May Day.
May 1st.
May 1st.
Wednesday.
Workers' Conference.
Yes.
And that's at
Ministers' Conference. Correct.
Yes.
That is
Shepherd Hill.
Divine Event Center of Obanikoro. And the theme is Kingdom Laborers from employment to deployment.
To deployment.
Yeah. Yes.
Even as parents, God employed me at the point of marriage, and He deployed me at the point of having the children. It's a very we'll be talking about the children, and the children will be the one talking about themselves. But whatever it is, keep it a date with us on AM Saturday Live next week Saturday. Thank you for being there, and don't be worried. The fuel scarcity will soon fizzle out. Bye-bye.